Yo, what is up YouTube? How you doing? It's your boy Zenith, and today I've got the Game Week 4 Fantasy Premier League preview for you. We're going to talk Ronaldo, we're going to talk Lukaku, Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mikel Antonio. We're also going to talk wildcards. And what if I told you I can get all 5 of those players into your Fantasy Premier League team? That's right, I can do it. I can fit them in. Stick around and we'll find out how to do that. As always, we're going to start off with the fixtures upcoming this week, so I'm going to tell you about both teams and their recent form. To kick off the weekend, we've got Crystal Palace playing host to the current Premier League leaders Tottenham Hotspurs, and Crystal Palace haven't had the best start to the season. An opening day thump into Chelsea didn't get any better when they went on the road for Brentford, as they only managed to get a draw against a newly promoted team. They also got knocked out by Watford 1-0 in the EFL second round, and then they did manage to claw their way back twice against West Ham United in their most recent fixture in the Premier League to draw 2-2. Tottenham, on the other hand, have had a perfect start to the season, not conceding a single goal and maximising all points possible against teams such as Manchester City, Wolves and Watford. So they've performed well, and I think they could continue this run of form against a shaky Crystal Palace side. Next up, we've got Battle of the Bottom, as we see Arsenal host returnees to the Premier League, Norwich City. Norwich have scored 1 and conceded 10, whereas Arsenal haven't got a single goal yet in the domestic campaign this season, but have conceded 9 already. With that being said, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang did get a hat-trick against West Brom in the EFL Cup second round, with Pepe, Saka and Lacazette also getting on the score sheet. But we can't say too much about that because Norwich also got 6 goals in the EFL second round as well. Granted, that was against Bournemouth. So God knows how this game's going to go. It's actually going to be a fun one to watch, and I'm going to laugh even harder if it's a boring 0-0 draw. I'm not going to lie. Next up, New Boys Brentford, who are currently undefeated, face Brighton, who have won 2 of their opening 3 fixtures this season, so it'll be anyone's guess as to which way this game goes. The next 2 teams both have 6 points apiece, with both of them recording 1 loss. One team lost to West Ham, one team lost to Tottenham, and that is the Foxes Leicester City hosting current champions Manchester City. This game is probably going to be a very open affair with a lot of counter-attacking football and fast-paced players breaking quickly. Question is, who's going to start for Manchester City side? There are some doubts for players like Jesus after the fiasco regarding the Brazil games, and who knows who's going to start with Leicester, with their performances being a bit up and down over the last 3 fixtures. The next 3 o'clock kickoff is the game on everyone's lips right now, and that is Manchester United playing host to Newcastle. Manchester United really haven't played around this summer, with some big name signings in Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, and last but not least for sure, Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a lot of debate whether Ronaldo's going to start, whether he's going to come on as a sub, whether he's going to feature at all. However, after being suspended from international duty after breaking the all-time international goal scoring record, I think it's safe to assume that he is going to start. And what better place to do it than at Old Trafford against a Newcastle side that are leaky to say the least. 8 goals conceded in their last 3 games. This could be an absolute goal fest for Cristiano. United currently sit 3rd in the league with 7 points and are one of the few teams that are currently undefeated. They're title contenders as well, and this is their opportunity to really lay down a marker and say to the other teams, we are here and we are here to stay. Next up, we've got my team travelling to Southampton, so that's West Ham. And Southampton haven't managed to record a win yet this season, which is potentially promising for me and the other Hammers out there. And this is a game that we want to see us win. We think we could pick up 3 points here, but Southampton definitely aren't going to make it easy. And they need to get 3 points on the board from a win at some point. So they're going to be eyeing us up and thinking they can hit us on the counter, because we've not exactly been rock solid at the back, shipping 5 in our last 3. However, we have scored the joint most goals in the Premier League so far with Manchester City, and that's a whopping 10 goals. Next up, Watford play host to Wolves, and whilst Watford's season started well as they picked up a 3-2 win over Aston Villa, it didn't go according to plan against Brighton as they lost 2-0, and then they subsequently lost to current table toppers Tottenham. They did go through against Palace in the second round of the EFL, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back against a Wolves side that haven't scored and haven't got a point yet this season. Wolves, on the other hand, have been playing some promising football and definitely should have had opportunities against all the teams that they've faced. And make no mistake, they haven't had the easiest start of the season, having faced Leicester away, Tottenham at home, and then Manchester United at home as well. They did, however, thrash Nottingham Forest 4-0 in the EFL round 2, so who knows if Trincao or Podence can continue this run of form and bring that kind of goal scoring ability into the Premier League. A lot of Premier League managers didn't get to see the main man Romelu Lukaku live up to his potential after a Reece James red card in the Liverpool fixture a couple of weeks ago, so let's see how Chelsea do at home with 11 men against an Aston Villa side who have picked up 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss so far this season. Aston Villa, on the other hand, could be without some key players due to international fixtures and obviously with the COVID restrictions for players travelling abroad. So definitely keep your finger on the pulse and make sure you're checking the pre-match press conferences. Moving on from Saturday, we're going to talk about Sunday's fixture now, and that is going to be Leeds United versus Liverpool. Leeds love to attack and get at teams, and especially when they're at home, Liverpool are not going to be susceptible to being able to just think that they can walk away with an easy clean sheet here. They could potentially be without Alisson and Fabinho as well, with all the drama that happened with the Brazilian international fixtures. So it's definitely one that you want to monitor. If you've got any Leeds attackers in your team, they could see returns here. Liverpool could be without Bobby Firmino as well. All these little things that we need to monitor are really going to stack up when it comes to fantasy Premier League football. With that being said, Leeds haven't actually managed to get a win yet, whereas Liverpool are undefeated. So this fixture does look like it's swinging in favour of Liverpool as they recharge their title challenge. And lastly, Monday Night Football has an undefeated Everton side going to a winless Burnley. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he can return to fitness, will be looking to continue to add to his goal tally, and who knows if he can do that. Will the backline keep clean sheets? Seamus Coleman is a potential doubt. Is Allen going to be an assister for Everton? Who's going to step up at Burnley and get them those goals they need to win games? It's anyone's guess. Anyways, enough of that. Let's talk to you about my team. So going into my team, in case you haven't guessed from the title, I've used my wildcard. As soon as the Cristiano Ronaldo transfer was announced, my wildcard was active. I wanted him in my team, but there's a plethora of choices, ranging from at the back line, you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson at the premium options. Marcos Alonso is a name that I've really been looking at and kind of want to squeeze in my team. You've got Mohamed Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba and Greenwood are peaking interest. Diego Jota's making a name for himself, and with Fabinho a potential doubt could be of more interest too. And it's about who do you get in your team. We've not even moved on to the forwards yet. I didn't give a shout out to Son in midfield just then either. Sadio Mane's not getting a look in sideways. Kevin De Bruyne has not even returned to fitness yet. You've still got other midfielders from Man City such as Raheem Sterling, Jackie Grealish, Ferran Torres. All of these guys, I mean, Grealish and Torres not so expensive, but every other player I've mentioned is 10 million or more, which is insane. And then let's talk about the strikers. You've got Harry Kane, Aubameyang, Vardy. These are the 3 forwards that were over 10 mil last season and the season before. Now you've also got to contest with Romelu Lukaku, 11.5, Cristiano Ronaldo, 12.5. I mean, how do you decide who to pick from? We still haven't even debated the fact that there's Dominic Calvert-Lewin at 8.2, Antonio 7.9 at the time of recording this, potentially even 8 million now. You got Gabriel Jesus, who's risen in price. Obviously, he's a doubt for this week because of what's happened with the Brazil saga, but we mentioned that earlier. Danny Ings is proving that he can score, and everyone knows that if Danny Ings is on form, he can score against anyone at 8 mil. Callum Wilson's proving he's worth at 7.5 over at Newcastle. It's a madness. But I'm going to talk to you about my wildcard team, who I've picked and why. My goalkeepers are pretty simple. So Sanchez is going to be my starting goalkeeper as promised. I really did debate getting Sarr in at Wolves, but you'll see later why I haven't gone for him. But Sanchez is someone that I can set and forget. Granted, when he comes up against the big teams such as City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, teams that can score goals, I might end up regretting this, but he isn't going to score massive points every week, and that's why he's 4.5 million. Even the 6 million goalies in Ederson and Alisson, they potentially concede. So if you're going to have keepers that concede, you might as well get some bench fodder who make up the points from saves, and then potentially get themselves some bonus points too. The backup keeper is going to be Brighton's number 2, which is Steele. Well, Sherpa might be Brighton's number 2, but he's got an ankle injury and we don't know when he's returning. So at least if Sanchez doesn't start, I'll get Steele in goal for Brighton anyway. Moving on to the back line. I mentioned I really wanted Marcos Alonso, so I'll talk about him later in the video. But one defender you can't really go without, and you should know this by now, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. The £7.5 million rated defender. is kind of a must stay in most teams, so he's straight in there. If we have a look at his record, he's already got 2 clean sheets this season and an assist, and his fixtures don't look too bad in the next 3, as you can see from the stats above my head. He's got Leeds away, Crystal Palace at home, and then Brentford away. With the exception of the Leeds game, I think he keeps at least 2 clean sheets. I think he can keep clean sheets against Palace and against Brentford, and I definitely think he can get attacking returns against all 3 of them, and that's why he's in my team, and he's probably going to be a mainstay for the season. The next one is proving his worth, and they're table toppers. It's Reguilon from Tottenham Hotspur. He has 3 clean sheets already in 3 games. They've got Crystal Palace, who have been struggling so far this season before they visit Chelsea and then Arsenal. So not the best of fixtures, but this Nuno Espirito Santos side does seem to know what it's doing, do seem more defensively sound. And I think with Reguilon's attacking prowess, he can potentially get some attacking returns as well in the games where he may not get you kind of clean sheets. Now the next 3 are all cheaper options, and I'm going to kind of reveal all 3 of these at once, but we'll go most expensive to least expensive, and we're going to start with Marcel of Wolves. If you look at Wolves' stats as a team, they've actually conceded very little. Not only have Wolves been defensively sound, their fixtures look really promising. They've got Watford, Brentford and Southampton as their next 3, and then even after that they've still only got Newcastle, Aston Villa and Leeds. So no startling threats, no big sides there, no Manchester City, no Liverpool, no United, no Chelsea teams to really worry about, and there is potential for defensive returns. If we also look at how they've lined up with a 3/5 at the back, and Marcel is playing as the left wing back, so that actually gives him the ability to get forward and support Adama Traore on that left flank at any team they're going to be attacking. And I think that there will be potential attacking returns there, and at 4.5 million, if I don't want him to play, I'm not going to feel too bad about sitting him on the bench. Next up is Shane Duffy, and he's been on the radar for quite a few managers because he's actually now at 4.2 million. So when we're talking about Shane Duffy, he's been transferred in a lot. He's actually been transferred in around 450,000 times for Game Week 3. And he's the most transferred in defender this week, currently sitting at 370,000 transfers in. So that's made his price go up to 4.2 million. So I banked 0.1 million on him as I wildcarded early, and I got ready for like kind of the price changes and banked on him rising. So if he doesn't play and he does get knocked out of the Brighton side, it's not that big a deal because he's just going to sit on the bench anyway, and I've made 0.1 profit from him regardless. So if I do have to transfer him out further down the line, I will, but at the moment I think he continues to start for a Brighton side that are normally defensively sound, and if I'm not too certain on the Brighton defensive double up, again it doesn't matter if he sits on the bench. If I think Brighton are definitely going to keep a clean sheet, if they're coming up against someone like a Norwich, then I can play both Sanchez and Duffy and pray that they do keep that clean sheet. The next one is a rising star, and well, I say rising star, every time I've watched him I think he's played pretty well. He's on loan from Manchester United and he's gone to Norwich, and that's Brandon Williams. He's rated 4 million in cost, so he's super cheap, someone you can leave on the bench, and probably someone you do want to leave on the bench given that he plays for Norwich, a side that's conceded 10 goals in the opening 3 fixtures so far. But at the end of the day, he is quite attacking. There are going to be games where Norwich do eventually keep clean sheets, and he's more or less a guaranteed starter of that Norwich side as well. You wouldn't sign someone like Brandon Williams on loan just to bench him. He is going to be someone who regularly features for them, and he did immediately feature in Game Week 3. So that's my back line covered, and in case you haven't noticed, there is no room for Marcos Alonso. Watch this space, we'll talk about him later. Moving on to midfield, we'll always go most expensive to cheapest again. And this guy speaks for himself with his previous season stats. But let's have a look at what he's done this season. So just check the stats out above my head here. He's already got 2 goals and 2 assists, as well as 2 clean sheets. And that is Mohamed Salah. He's currently the 2nd highest scoring player in Fantasy Premier League. And what do you expect from someone who's racked up over 230 points for the past 4 seasons? This guy scores, he picks up bonus points, he also benefits from Liverpool's clean sheets because he's classified as a midfielder, and Liverpool do get a fair few of those. They got 11 last season that he played in, 16 the season before that, and his next run of fixtures are glorious. He's got an attacking lead side, which he could potentially exploit. Then he's got Crystal Palace and Brentford. Neither team are exactly scary or someone that Liverpool are going to be worried about, and Salah's talent and quality can shine through against these teams. Keep him in your team. Next up is the giant 4th highest scoring player, and that is Said Benrahma. He's already risen to 6.4 million, which is how many of you guys have transferred him in, which is insane. He's been picked up by 458,000 managers this game week alone already. That doesn't include the 1.1 million that brought him in last week. and the 300,000 that brought him in before that. And that's why this guy's value has shot up. He's now 6.4 million. So if you're not already on this bandwagon, he's getting more and more expensive. I brought him in for 6 at the start of the season. He's now worth 6.2. So if I do sell him out and transfer him out, I'm going to make 0.2 million profit. And West Ham fixtures aren't necessarily awful. We've got Southampton next, which is away. And then we do have a Man United side, which haven't shown great defensive resilience. Yes, they did get a clean sheet against Wolves, but Wolves definitely should have converted some chances. And then they do face Leeds, who are prone to conceding goals. So keep an eye on this guy, as I think he will continue his form. And there'll be another West Ham midfielder on the watch list if you stick around till later in the video. Next up, we're talking another Wolves player, and now you can see why I've not picked Salah to go in goal, as well as the fact that I couldn't afford him by 0.2 million, which I was kind of gutted about. But this is Adama Traore. Now, would you believe me if I said he's had 27 touches in the opposition's penalty area? He's managed to get off 12 shots already, 7 of which have come from within the penalty area. Now, this does tell me that he's not the best at converting his opportunities. But the opportunities are there, and I think it's only a matter of time before he is going to score. We've already spoke about Wolves' fixtures as we looked at Marcel, and there are teams here that he can score against. Watford, I think he can bully their defenders. Brentford, Southampton, and then we continue to look at the next 6 weeks. He's still got Newcastle, Villa and Leeds before he faces an Everton side. Still aren't a Big Six club. They won't face a Big Six club until game week 15 in Liverpool. In fact, their only difficult fixtures are potentially Everton and West Ham between now and then. And even both those teams he can score against because he's an absolute powerhouse. Can he convert? Who knows? If you can't afford him and you need to save just a 0.1 million, then potentially look at Trincao. But Traore is the man for me. Next up is someone who I didn't actually have tipped to even go to this club at the start of the season, let alone start and perform well, and that's Demarai Gray, and he's surprisingly done well. He started every fixture, he's played 80 minutes in each one, returning 2 goals and a clean sheet. He's only 5.5 million, and he's there to support Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin and get forward and attack for Everton. So he's definitely a player who's not too expensive on the peripherals and one worth keeping an eye on. Everton's fixtures aren't horrific. They've got Burnley, they've got Aston Villa, they've got Norwich. That's opportunity for goals, especially as 2 of those 3 games are at home over the next 3 fixtures. So this man's definitely worth watching if you can stretch the funds to him instead of getting someone like Allen, who's only 4.5 million at Everton. Finally, and I'm really sorry to say this about a rising star and a potential future talent, that's Billy Gilmour, comes in at 4.5 million, but he's going to be what I call my bench fodder. He's 4.5 mil. And unless someone like Demarai Gray or Said Benrahma are facing a Man City or a Liverpool and Norwich are playing kind of like another relegation battle team, Billy's probably going to sit on the bench for most of the season. But if anything does happen from Norwich, I think this man is going to have some involvement for them. I think he's going to be the guy that kind of makes them tick. Anyways, let's get on to the big guns. Now, if you've been keeping track of the cost of my team, you can probably see that I've not spent that much already, considering 31% of my budget is on my front 3 men. I'm going to reveal them one at a time. It's your current Fantasy Premier League leading point scorer, Mikel Antonio. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists in 3 games. He's got Southampton, followed by Manchester United, and then Leeds. Not awful fixtures, and West Ham at the moment look like they can score against anyone, and I probably would say that I'm potentially a little bit biased, and I hope we keep up the form. But he's doing bits at the moment, and let's hope it keeps happening, you know? Next up, Romelu Lukaku. Now, he has tipped to have a bit of a thigh injury. There's a 75% chance he plays, but I don't think he's going to want to miss playing Aston Villa at home, who are without Martinez because of the World Cup qualifiers and the stuff that was happening in South America. He's not going to be in goal. I think Lukaku's going to fancy his chances here, and I don't want to miss out on that. Most of you guys are thinking about jumping on this bandwagon from game week 7, because that's when their fixtures turn, because they do have Spurs and City after this, as you can see from just above me. But from game week 7, you're all thinking about jumping on the bandwagon. I've got him in early, because then I haven't got to worry about tinkering my team. And that's why I've wildcarded, so I can have this man and the man I'm about to mention. Having both of them is going to be insane. And in case you haven't noticed as well, if you look back at the spine of my team, I have the most expensive player for each position in my squad. That means I can easily transfer them out and change my team about if needed, if necessary, due to COVID, due to injuries, due to underperformances, or new players performing well. I can lose Salah, I can downgrade into a Jota, that will free up a big chunk of money, 4 to 5 million off the top of my head. I can easily downgrade Lukaku or the next striker I'm about to talk about to a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that's going to free up 3 to 4 million. Trent could easily come down to a 5.5 million, you know, like a Luke Shaw, that frees up 2 million. This allows me to be so flexible with my team when making transfers in the future. If my team doesn't perform, if they perform and I already have them in my team and you guys will start jumping on these bandwagons, what you're going to do is you're going to inflate their price for me. Their prices are going to rise, I'm going to benefit, I'm going to get profit if I want to sell them out in the future, or other managers are going to be priced out. So Lukaku's price might go to 11.6. It isn't due to anytime soon, but if he has a fantastic week against Villa, a lot of managers will think about bringing him in. And then you're looking at, oh no, he's 11.6, that's another 0.1 million I need to find, and that's where it starts to get tricky. Finally, probably the biggest signing of the summer, and statistically, if you look at the way kind of like news articles and Twitter blew up about it, this transfer was bigger than Lionel Messi's, and it is that man, CR7. Cristiano Ronaldo returns to Manchester United, and for me, you have to have him in your team. I think he's going to score more than 20 goals this season. He's already in over 17% of teams. Okay, the fixtures look horrible. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Guy can score against anyone. United tend to get the most amount of goals and penalties in the Premier League. Is he really going to let Bruno take the penalties? He's Bruno's captain at international level. He's probably going to come to United and take charge of the penalties. I think that he might let Bruno have the free kicks because of this, but Bruno's stats haven't been overly impressive. I mean, if you think about it, he's got 23 points, 20 of them come in game week 1 in a 5-1 thumping of Leeds where he scored a hat-trick, which is a big anomaly. So I definitely think Ronaldo's the better shout here than Bruno. He is only an extra 0.5 million, and he does get 1 point less per goal, but strikers benefit more from bonus points. And that's where I think that the difference will offset. If Ronaldo scores and Bruno scores, Ronaldo's probably looking at those 3 bonus points as opposed to Bruno, and I think that balances out the point difference per goal from a midfielder to a striker. So that, guys, is my wildcard team. Let me know what you think of it below. Let me know if you think I've gone too heavy in some places, too light in others. What would you change? Why would you change it? Tell me your team. I'm going to rate your team. If you put your 15-man squad below, I'm going to tell you what I like about it. I'm going to tell you what I don't like about it, okay? I hope you guys enjoy that. Anyways, now time for Spotlight, as that's what some of you come here for. And I'm going to run you down some players that I think you should keep your eye on that haven't made it to my wildcard team. Time for the In the Spotlight. This week, I'm only going to give you one goalkeeper to consider other than Sanchez, because I don't think there are too many good options. I'm here to kind of give you longevity options. We've already spoke about Lloris and Raya from Spurs and Brentford respectively. This one's going to be Salah. He's rated 5 million. He's someone that you can leave in your team for like the next 10 weeks, and I think they've got like 4 fixture difficulty rated game in the next 10 weeks from a defensive perspective, and that's Everton, and they're at home to Everton, I believe. And then the next tricky fixture will be game week 15 against Liverpool at home. So Salah is probably the one to watch out for. I think this man's going to potentially bag some points. There are going to be teams that come on Wolves and attack, and I also think that's where Salah can pick up some save points, which may also turn into bonus points if he keeps the clean sheets as well as making the saves. We've already spoke about Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's in my team, so we're not going to go any further onto that gentleman. But we are going to look at Andrew Robertson now that he's returned to form. We all know that his ability of getting forward, could he rack up some big points? So that's going to be my premium one to watch. Now, I would really like to see Alonso in your team. He's not on the pitch to the side. His stats are above really quickly. This season, he's got a goal and he's kept 2 clean sheets. Now, I really wanted him in my team. A lot of other people are telling me he's not going to keep playing with the Champions League coming up, and Ben Chilwell will be in there. But I genuinely believe that left wing back spot is his to lose. So if you're a bit of a gambler, or you're trying to gain points, or someone in your mini leagues and you're trying to catch someone up, I think this man could be the one to do it for you. Probably from game week 7 onwards, as I do think Tottenham and City will do better at nullifying him. But that also means they're susceptible to counter attacks as well. Because they will try and push Chelsea back, and I think that Alonso is someone who could benefit on the break, and obviously he does have set pieces as well. But if we are going to talk of like a solid guaranteed starter for a Chelsea backline, it's going to be the man on your screen now, and that is going to be Antonio Rudiger. He started all 3 of their opening games. He's played 90 minutes in all of them, and as we know from game week 7 onwards, he has fantastic fixtures. Do I believe that they can keep Tottenham out? Potentially yes. Would they have kept Liverpool out if they hadn't given the penalty away the other week? Potentially. Can they keep City quiet? Spurs have done it, so they may do it. Who knows? But if you're going to pick a Chelsea defender, it's probably going to be Rudiger. And another mid-price player to keep an eye out for is probably going to be Luke Shaw. I've only got Ronaldo as a United player in my team at the moment. Luke Shaw crossing the ball for someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, we've all seen his headed goals. It doesn't matter how high the ball is or where it is, Ronaldo will get his nut on the end of one of them. It's just like a sure thing potentially. Pardon the pun. And they do have the potential for clean sheet returns, what with Rafael Varane shoring up the back. They were supposed to concede against Wolves if you look at the opportunities they had, but they didn't. And that's a sign of teams that are playing well in the long run. You know, if you can keep a clean sheet, if you can get a result, that's what we talk when we talk about championship sides. They're the things that we mention. So I've already got Marcel in my team, so I'm not going to speak about him anymore. But one that you may want to monitor and someone I was really umming and ahhing about, and it was probably the Liverpool fixture that really put me off of him. It's an easy swap if Marcel doesn't play well or starts to lose minutes, and that is going to be Luke Ayling of Leeds. Now, he gets forward for them. They kind of play like a 5 at the back system, Leeds. I don't really know what you would call it. So he has that ability to get forward and bomb down the wing. Obviously, he got the goal against United in the opening game of the season. And once they've got Liverpool out the way in game week 4, look at their fixtures. I mean, 2 of them are they're above my head right now, just there. But if you go deeper than that, so they've got Newcastle and West Ham next, so potential for attacking returns as well as clean sheets, maybe not so much in the West Ham game. But then they've got Watford at home, Southampton away, Wolves at home, and Norwich away before their fixtures then tend to get difficult again. So you're going to get a few weeks of business out of this man, and at 4.5 million, he could be a bargain. We've already discussed Mohamed Salah, so I'm not going to talk about him as the midfield spotlights. And I'm going to actually skip over Bruno Fernandes. His performances in the past 2 game weeks have been underwhelming. Like I mentioned, 20 of his 23 points came in game week 1. And with Cristiano Ronaldo's arrival, I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. Kevin De Bruyne is not back from injury just yet, so we're not going to discuss him, which leaves the man Son Heung-min as the guy to watch. And if we look at his returns, there's potential for him. Now, you may need to monitor him because he did come off a bit early from one of the South Korea games. But that being said, he probably will return to fitness for this weekend. They're going to face Crystal Palace, and then he does have Chelsea and Arsenal. Now, both these teams are probably going to come at Spurs, which is going to work perfectly for Son on the counter-attack. And with Harry Kane returning to the side, who knows what kind of assists he's going to get. Now, we already spoke about fantastic fixtures for Leeds, so that leaves one man in mind for me, and we're looking at the mid-price range, and that is going to be Rafinha. He's 6.5 million. I know a lot of managers that are getting him into their teams or are thinking about it. Now, there is potentially going to be some issue for the Liverpool fixture due to what's happened in South America international fixtures, so keep an eye on that. But as I mentioned as well, his fixtures look good. He's an attacking threat at Leeds. Leeds like to get forward. They like to play free-flowing football. He's already picked up a goal this season, so definitely one more to keep your eye on. So I'm going to give this guy a quick shout out, kind of for the opposite reason of Bruno Fernandes, and that is Ferran Torres. He scored 18 points of his 23 points in the 3rd game week, but the thing to note with Torres is that under Pep Roulette, he's actually started all 3 of City's opening fixtures so far, which is quite rare. De Bruyne's not back yet, so he has that potential to keep starting. He also looks like he plays as the attacking front 3, so isn't necessarily going to be harmed by De Bruyne returning. He might actually benefit from him with De Bruyne's through balls and his ability to pick out a pass. So keep an eye on this guy, but he's not going in the main spotlight because the next 2 players are. And that is going to be Mason Greenwood. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Bruno, but Pogba, but Ronaldo. Mason Greenwood has started every game for United so far. He's scored in every game. He's been playing on that right flank, keeping Jadon Sancho out of the team, and Cristiano Ronaldo's arriving. Most people at Manchester have said that he's the best finisher that they've got at the club, natural finisher, and he's only going to develop that further with someone like Cristiano Ronaldo coming into coaching. He's got Cristiano Ronaldo there, he's got Edison Cavani there. These are great strikers that only can help develop him, and with his age and his pace, I do think that he can make that right wing spot his own for now, especially with Rashford still out injured. There's no reason why Sancho can't go out and play on the left if he returns. Bruno Fernandes can play behind Ronaldo, and then Pogba can move back to that double pivot and play next to maybe McTominay, Fred or Matic. But I think Mason Greenwood, and that's why he's one to watch. He's one in the spotlight. It depends on what happens with his minutes now that Ronaldo's here. Dan James has left as well. Jesse Lingard's not going to keep Greenwood out of the team, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And the other guy is going to be someone to watch depending on how he plays over the next few games, but definitely from game week 7 onwards. And that is going to be Mason Mount. 7.5 million as well, so slightly cheaper than Greenwood, but definitely one to keep an eye out for. He's picked up 2 assists and 2 clean sheets for Chelsea already. And as you can see from just above me, his fixtures aren't fantastic, but we have spoke about how good the Chelsea swing is from game week 7. So keep an eye on this man. Finally, up top, I got 2 guys for you. One should already be on your radar, and if he's not, get him on your radar. He's got a muscle injury at the moment, and that's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Their fixtures over the next 3 are fantastic before they play Man United and West Ham in game week 7 and 8. They've got Burnley, Villa and Norwich. Calvert-Lewin's already got 3 goals this season, scoring in every game, sorry. He got 16 goals last season. He's going to be looking to improve on that. Everton are looking a bit more attacking this year. There's potential there for him to keep going. And the next recommendation is probably going to make my editor happy again, because this will be the 3rd Leeds player I've mentioned now, and that's Patrick Bamford. The guy's got 1 assist and 1 goal already. He's dropped slightly in price. I mean, I don't know if that's because other forwards such as Antonio have been doing well. So after the first 2 games, you know, Antonio returned really well. So a lot of people probably jumped off of Bamford and went on to Antonio. But he's already got 14 points this season. We've already discussed how well his fixtures look after the Liverpool game. So this guy is one to look out for. Anyways, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you keep your eye out for it. Let me know how your team does. Get at me on Twitter. All my socials are in the link below. And I look forward to seeing you in the Game Week 4 review on Tuesday. Take care. Goodbye.